Welcome to the Smart Influencer Podcast. I'm Corinne,
I'm Christina.
and together we help digital entrepreneurs streamline their businesses, maximize revenue, and finally feel in control of their time.
Every week, we share tried and true strategies, proven systems, and expert interviews to help you grow your influence and income without the burnout. So, if you're ready to get smarter about how to run your business, you are in the right place.
Before we dive in, though, if you love what you hear, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you find today's conversation helpful, please share it with a friend who could use it too.
So today we're chatting with Morgan Peaceman from Namaste Hungry about how to provide solutions that your audience really wants. Welcome to the show, Morgan. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on your show, on your podcast. So my name is Morgan Peaceman, and you got it right. It's Namaste Hungry. Sometimes people are like, Namaste. It's just Namaste Hungry. And so my business is really about recipe blogging to help solve that wonderful question of what's for dinner, and what's for breakfast. We tend to get really, caught up in the day-to-day of the status quo of getting kids ready, getting our lives ready. And so with a little bit of help from my email list and from followers on Instagram, I was able to kind of crack the code, if you will, about what makes the most sense for helping folks kind of solve and find solutions to those questions.
I'm super excited about this because one, that problem is so relatable. So I get that. But what I love is where we're taking that today because Christina and I have been talking about this a lot, everywhere that we are, whether it's in mastermind groups or in group coaching, right now people are trying to move towards digital products because of all the changes with Google and Pinterest and all that. And the issue is people, especially if it's a new thing for people, trying to create products, putting all this time and energy into something that they believe is serving their customer, and then it falls flat. It doesn't sell. And it's because unwittingly, they went the wrong direction early on. And so not a lot of people have actually figured this out, even though it seems really logical, because the actual how to of finding out what that is difficult. I know for me, I write to myself 15 years ago, that's who my ideal reader is. So I think I know her, but the me that's 15 years younger is in a different space, right? They have different tools now available, so they look for information a little differently than I initially bring it to them. So super excited to hear what you have to say about this. All right, I feel like I talked a lot. So my question is, the question I was coming to is, where do you start with that? Where do you start to figure out what your audience needs?
Yeah, great question. And that was something that I struggled with when I started using Instagram and trying to figure out how to get people to subscribe. I really relied on face forward stories on Instagram. I feel like you can't show your face enough, especially in the time of AI and things are being generated. You want to really have that authentic, and I know that that term becomes so cliche, but it's so true. To be authentic, you really need to show your face and become comfortable talking to the camera. And it doesn't need to be poised. There's times where I'm literally talking to the camera with just a t-shirt on. I probably have food in my teeth. I probably have flour or coffee, or my hair is a mess, but that's what my audience has shown me that they want, as evidenced by the amount of views and the amount of likes and reactions to my stories. But also using polls, I think, is a really great option for people to kind of get an idea of what your followers, what your audience signed up for, why they hit follow in the first place. So I've done stories. I've also prefaced it by saying, hey guys, I know you love all my polls. So for the next 5 slides, please engage. And so I think authenticity in terms of talking to the camera, being comfortable talking to the camera, even if you stumble and you have to repeat yourself, and using polls was the biggest indicator that I was going in the right direction.
So I'm going to pause you for just a second because I have a question about this. Because Christina and I both have gone back and forth with Instagram a number of times because no matter what we've tried over there, for us, and I'm sorry, Christina, I want to talk for you, but for me, I don't usually see that translate into anything. There's not a good ROI for me.
Mhm.
And certainly a lot of that is like I didn't have the right strategy, right? Like I haven't done, face forward videos and things. But does that audience convert? Like, are you then selling on Instagram, or are those people somehow converting to your list or to your site so that they turn into dollars?
A mixture of yes and no. And so I'm still figuring out a little bit more about what gets that automatic yes, I'm going to subscribe, or yes, I'm going to, make that recipe. So the last time I did that, I'm trying to get to, I have 2,000 subscribers. Oh, I've just under 2,000 on my website. And so what I'm trying to do now is kind of do every now and again weekly giveaways or every other week giveaways. And I did have about 15 to 20 emails come in through the questions box when I said, three of you guys at random are going to get a $25 gift card to go shopping somewhere. Or, you'll get whatever the case is if I'm giving something away. But giveaways have worked and the raffle has also worked. Kind of doing like a here's a sneak peek recipe. If you want it, you got to subscribe for it, and just being authentic and saying, this is how I can support you. Spend all my time and energy literally at night putting recipes out for folks to make life easier in terms of cooking. So, I'm giving this to you for free. Can you give me your email? I promise I won't send you like random TikTok cat videos. It's all just recipes and things that are going to make mealtime simpler.
So
So
do you think that most of your audience just does also happen to live on Instagram, so that's where they see you? Or are you using Instagram to push people, or both? Is it both? A little bit of
It's both. So I have some subscribers that have come just from coming across my website through Google, but I also have had folks come to Instagram from my website. And then also just by, vi videos that I guess, quote, went viral or now viral is like it doesn't happen anymore. So just people kind of following and finding my content through the Explore page.
gotcha.
all right, so I have a couple of thoughts here. I'm going to rewind you way back because this was one of the first things you said when you were saying about doing forward facing video, right? And um, I think this kind of goes again, it's kind of contradictory to my normal philosophy of we have to remove ourselves from the equation all the time. And I think that is very true when it comes to creating products for your audience, right? Like we shouldn't be creating for what we think they want, but what they actually want. But
Hmm.
with the forward facing video, I think it's easy to become comfortable with it when you start to look at what bothers you when you're looking at those videos, right? So I know when I'm scrolling, whether it's Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, whatever, I'm really not bothered by the unpolished videos. I kind of like them better. And like I've engaged with videos where the one time the woman had her hair up in a towel, like she had just gotten out of the shower, no makeup on, hair in a towel, and she's doing a quick video that didn't bother me at all. Like I get in my own head that I have to, my hair has to be done. I have to have makeup on. Like I fight with rosacea, so I want to hide that, like all the things I want to hide.
Hmm.
But it's just not, you don't need to do all that.
Right.
Right. And I think like that goes against everything else I say, like take yourself out. But here I think you have to put yourself in and see, like, it doesn't bother me to see that. So if that's what's keeping you from doing these types of things, don't let it bother you. Like, get out
Ex-
there and just make a quick video with how you are right now.
Yep. Yeah, I've literally come home. So I have another full-time job other than recipe blogging. And so when I remember doing this with when cottage cheese was a huge trend and everybody was making cottage cheese ice cream, I was like, no, no, we're gonna do cottage cheese pasta because that's what I grew up eating. And so I made it. I literally came home and I was made up and I had nice clothing on because I was in the city for work. And I just came home and did the video and it went nuts on TikTok. And I just remember not putting much thought into it, but I just filmed myself boiling pasta,
Yeah.
throwing cottage cheese in it, and putting salt and pepper and taking a bite. And it went bananas, literally on TikTok. But I've also done videos where I'm eating like, I don't know, tuna and celery on the side while I'm making pesto, and that did really well. So
Yeah.
I think the more relatability, because things
Mhm.
are so poised and proper and um, just done up so much. Like things are behind filters a lot that we forget that there's human value and there's an entity to what, information is being put out there.
And I think that goes to the whole AI thing too, right? You're dispelling that because you're a true human. You're out there warts and all, showing it all. Like I
Yeah.
know some of my best photos on Instagram are when I share the behind the scenes on video days and like the disaster that is my kitchen and my dining room and everything else. And people just love that. They love to look and see like, oh, okay, like that's normal. I'm normal then because you have it too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that definitely connects. But then my next point was, so you talked a lot. So I have a couple of points here going through your
Sure.
story. This goes to what Corinne had said about Instagram not working for us. And I think the one aha moment I had was at Tastemaker. I don't know if you went to Tastemaker this past year in 2025, was it? The beginning of 2025? Um, that Molly Thompson did a presentation on how she grew her email list and she used Reels in Instagram. And I think that really gave me that like aha moment when I realized I was probably using Instagram wrong.
Mm,
Like trying to make it fit in the same framework I was making trying to use Facebook for. And I think a lot of us tend to do that. We get so busy, we're like, let's multi-purpose and multitask and use the same stuff across the board. And I'm gonna knock out three things, like kill two birds with one stone. And I think you really have to have a different approach. And I think it's where Instagram really shines is in the connecting with people.
yes. Yes, 100%. I've not done the real aspect, and I did read something about how Molly grew her. I think it was sent
Mhm.
through Raptive, maybe, but how she did a whole thing on how she grew her email list, and I read through that, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of great nuggets here. And it's still something I'm learning and developing, but I have had the most success connecting with my followers on Instagram and on Facebook is sharing just, stories with interactive stickers. So whether it's a question box or
Yeah.
whether it's a poll or a slider, I have found that those have been really, really, really helpful. And I also have two young kids, so every now and again I'll share their face or their hands, like eating a recipe that I've made or just saying something about whatever, or in the background you hear one of them like sneezing and it's cute so people can relate to the, background sounds, because nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing is perfect. In those Square apps, it's all orchestrated and strung together as if there's nothing else happening outside of that application.
Mhm.
I think sometimes the ROI isn't so much the translation of a post on Instagram to a page view on our website. We
Mhm.
want it to be because that's where we make money, but sometimes the ROI is the mining of the information and the needs and the wants of our audience, is what I'm gathering here.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where, I'm a big proponent of meal prep and meal planning. And for me, that saved my life, especially when I had my children and working two full-time jobs. Just and understanding the planning process behind preparation and the planning aspect of the menu. I've used my notes app for years of menu week of so and so, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I even went as nuts as to put lunch options, but that doesn't happen anymore. I was like, I can't be this OCD anymore.
No.
Um, but and so I quickly realized, I'm doing way too much at once. I was baking, I was cooking, I was dabbling in desserts, I was dabbling in cocktails, I was doing all these different things. And then when I looked at my analytics on Instagram, how, which stories get the most engagement or what type of recipe or photo gets the most engagement, and on analytics of GA4, it's like, well, savory and dinner and breakfast options get the most
Mm.
clicks. Um, so there's something to be said about what content I'm putting out and possibly how I'm marketing that makes the
Yeah.
most sense for my viewers.
Mhm.
Um, and so then I decided, well, then let's put together what I wanted to do for the longest time, which was a downloadable PDF with hyperlinks for 10 of my most popular dinner recipes and 10 of my most popular breakfast recipes that can be meal planned for and prepped ahead of time.
Mhm.
That way it takes the guesswork out of, well, our children have to go on the bus in 20 minutes. What can they grab? Or I have a late night at work. What can I prep on Monday so I have leftover Tuesday?
Right. And I love that you took that information and you made it part of your introduction. Like when you introduced yourself, you're like, not just what's for dinner, but what's for breakfast.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. I mean, you hear everybody say what's for dinner, but never what's for breakfast. I love that.
Yeah, it's breakfast. I love breakfast is my favorite part of the day. It's my favorite meal. I think about what I'm having for breakfast literally as I'm eating it in the morning. And
Well,
that's
I do that if
probably
somebody else is making it for me, but
my son has become such a big foodie with it too. And so yeah, I feel like breakfast sometimes more than dinner is one of those things where it's like, all right, we'll just grab a bar and out you go. But if you can prep a protein waffle, or even I just was toying around with like a chia pudding idea for breakfast, then why can't there can be meal prepped items that can be a grab and go that are a little bit less
yeah.
official or filler and that are homey and, hearty that do just the same thing.
It's funny because I'll be watching television. You see the families sit down and they have this, big breakfast. And it's like, oh, here comes the school bus. Let's go. I'm like, who has time for that?
Right.
Who
Never.
does
Not
that?
I. No way.
Maybe it's just
No.
my family because we like to sleep
Yeah.
in and take every minute of sleep we get. But I'm like, who does that?
Yeah, no, it just doesn't happen. And there are weekends where I will dedicate an hour or two to get things done
Yeah.
for the week. Like I'm an early bird. I like to get up at 6 o'clock, 5:45, go for a walk or read my email and have my coffee in peace. But then I will spend a 30 to 45 minutes every now and again prepping, meatballs or waffles, or something to get the week started so I'm not pulling my hair out morning, noon, and night.
Yeah.
So we talked a bit about Instagram and, mining some good messaging from there. Do you use other resources to find out what your audience really wants?
I have used TikTok. I still can't really figure out TikTok the way that I want it to, because I feel like it tends to be kind of all over the place. And it's one of those things where you just pop up on the For You page and then you get those viewers that way. I will say, though, that cottage cheese pasta, which is considered savory, still gets comments from 2 years ago. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, I mean, I think the way that I get the likes and the views, what they like, and then they'll come view my page. I think from TikTok I'd get that as well. And Pinterest. Pinterest, I have somebody who helps support me with my Pinterest pins and my boards. And so when I notice and what I see as being liked and saved are typically breakfast and dinner
Mhm.
recipes. So it kind of is like, all right, well, I nailed that niche. I nailed that niche really well because that's the things that
Yeah.
I also like, and then I also have known from what they're saving and what they're engaging with that that's kind of getting that home run.
You know
Hmm.
what I love about that is that is like that's a great place for anyone to start. Like if you haven't figured out where you connect with your audience, like you have the data, right? Like you've mentioned that a couple times, right? Like you go in and you see what's happening on Pinterest. You looked at Google Analytics to see which posts people were like where you were getting traffic, what people were engaging with. Like we've got data that we can look at regardless. Even if you don't have that vehicle yet to connect with the audience. Like I do like that. So with that in mind, like what types of things are you looking at in Pinterest other than just what are your popular pins? Like is it mostly engagements? Are you looking at outbound clicks? Like when you're determining what type of content you're developing, which metrics are you looking at there?
So I like to look at the outbound clicks. That's typically what I look at first. Because the views, like anybody can view it, but it's really about what you're doing with that view and taking it to the next level. So outbound clicks and saves. Um,
Hmm.
I've had a couple of pins get engagement of commenting or sharing and liking, but typically I look at the outbound and the saves to get an idea of what people are really looking for. I also like to look at what types of boards they're being saved to, just because if it's
Mhm.
like yummy food, then it's like, okay, well, maybe it's eclectic, but if people are saving it, some boards could be very specific to easy breakfast recipes, so then that gives me a little bit more insight in what people are looking at my recipes with in terms of like their lens.
That's
It's
so smart. I never thought of looking at the boards people are
yeah, me
saving
neither.
to. So write that down, listeners. That's a good
I
nugget right
know.
there.
In fact, as she was saying it, I'm like, do I even know how to do that?
I
Like, I've never done that.
So, and I'm pretty sure if I am using my mind's eye correctly, I think if you scroll down, you could see like saved to or like shared to.
Yeah.
So because I know my neurotic self, I'm like I like to know where people are kind of fitting me into their.
That's so smart. Yeah, I'm
That's
definitely doing that as soon as we finish recording.
me too. That was a great nugget. I
Okay,
will
so since you had such a great answer, sorry, Christina, to cut you off, but I want to leverage this gold mine while we've got
go
it.
for it.
So outside of Pinterest then, the other platforms that you're using to gather information, data-wise, what are you looking at there? Like what are you looking at on Instagram? What are you looking at in Google Analytics? Because like I'm just dying to know what thing you're looking at that I have been completely ignoring.
So Instagram, I have an amazing social media team that I had to hire out because it has become so much to do all the socials and all of the email and like have a life. So when we meet monthly, we go over the strategy and the analytics for it, but we typically look at the reposts, shares, um, what was the other one? Not
Is
necessarily
it mostly your stories where you get engagement?
the stories. I get more engagement. I think there was one week where I got 600 views. I'm like, that is wild. And there are people that I've never even had follow me before. So I thought that that was interesting, how people are kind of just maybe follower hopping, I guess. Um, but I will look at, what's being saved. Saves, that's the other one. Saves, reposts, and shares are typically my three that I go to on Instagram. But with stories, I like to look at if people are just skipping or exiting, because then I'm like, well, what
Mm.
did you not like about the video? What made you want to skip? And then every now and again, I'll go back on the stories and say, hey, I noticed all you guys loved this. I got so many comments, and then I'll do a
Yeah.
poll or two maybe about if it was a pasta, what type of pasta do you like, one pot or do you like slow cooker meal? That type of stuff.
Mhm.
Right, to drill deeper on the data.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, and then oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna share just for the Google Analytics. I typically look at the views, like the page views, which pages are getting the most clicks, the most views. Um, what was the other? I guess kind of like the landing page where people kind of land on and how they're coming to my
Mhm.
website.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I what I was going to say is you have all this data, right?
Mhm.
And you have all these data points coming in from various sources. But I know as a business owner myself, sometimes I can get stuck in my own head.
Mm.
Like maybe I've created a recipe because I thought it was 30 minutes or less, but that might not be what's attractive to the end user.
Mhm.
And sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees, especially when you created the content. So I found that doing this exercise with like a friend or a partner or like your blogging bestie, that's you, Corinne, like digging into that data together, they can probably see things that you can't and identify those trends.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking that could be extremely helpful.
Yes, I've talked about this on other podcasts too, and I've talked about this with friends. Like you need to have a village of food blogger besties or content creator, your crew, to really help support you and guide you in the right direction and not be afraid to tell it like it is because
Yeah.
this is a business. This is not just like, oh, you blog, that's nice. No, it's a business. This is nonstop, 24 hours, sometimes 7 days a week, most times. So I have my people I go to, and we talk almost more than I talk to my own husband through text.
Well, yeah, he can't give you valuable insights into your Google Analytics.
So yeah, it's very helpful to have people be like, so if you created this, how does this make sense with the content clusters that you already have?
Mhm.
And what does this mean in terms of engagement? Is it Namaste hungry? Does it really read and feel
Right.
Namaste hungry?
I
Yeah.
had a friend do that for me once. She hopped on and because I was feeling stuck and trying to identify clusters and she's like, "Oh, well you have It's like after just looking at some of my numbers, she identified two clusters I didn't even know I had. And now that she pointed it out, it's like I can't unsee it. Like I'm like, how did I miss this all these years? How did I miss this? And it's because I wasn't looking for. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm quick and easy. I'm slow cooker. Like I have my clusters in my mind and I just couldn't get out of that train of thought. But once she pointed it out, I'm like, well, duh. Yeah, there they are.
Yep. It's so funny you're saying this though, because I had just had this conversation with another food blogger. And she was like, yours. So I love an espresso martini. I randomly made it for my website and it went berserk all over Google. And then the algorithm changed. It's still doing really well, which is amazing. And she's like, but if your espresso martini is doing this well, other things you can do is a flavored espresso martini
Yeah.
or a holiday inspired. So I just created a pumpkin spice espresso martini going up on the website, hopefully today or tomorrow. And I was like, it's like I was completely mind blown. I'm like, how did I not think of this?
Right?
She's like,
It's like
"You're
so
welcome."
obvious.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, so now it's just the floodgates opened, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be trying to make it, just ping pong off of each other in like this big recipe web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know this topic that we're talking about today isn't about that, but I think that is the power of masterminds and
Mhm.
group coaching and things like that is like you can be in this hive with people who can help you figure that stuff out if you're feeling
Right.
stuck or you're just not sure. Or because sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Yep. Well, and
Definitely.
just even the different ways of thinking, like, because Christina and I talk about this all the time. It's so weird that we end up at the same place so many times because we always take a different direction to go there. It's like, I don't know, like the destination, like we're at the bottom, something's at the top, she goes left, I go right. Like when we talk about our system for getting to a conclusion, they are completely different all the
All
time.
the time. If there's anything that's consistent, it's that we're different.
Is that we're different. And it's beautiful. Like I love that because when I need someone that kind of gets my brain and understands where I'm trying to get to, it's nice to see that left view of things because evidently I'm only looking right.
Right.
So, and you just can't, right? Like your brain is what your brain is. So,
Yes.
you can't step outside of it unless you bring other people in.
And it's
Right.
good, I think, sometimes to have people like stretch that box that you're in. Like,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
make like kind of break down the walls of that box and make you look in a different direction. And you might not want to go there, but when you do, it's like, oh yeah, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also think too on the flip side, if you're getting too grand and too out there, it's nice to have somebody be like, well, let's take it on
Let's
a little
reel
bit.
that back in.
Let's focus on what makes sense. Let's
Yeah.
focus on, if you're a recipe blogger that's doing work with quick and easy meals, you're not going to go out there and make like, a 5-day sourdough.
Right.
Even though you want to. That would
Right,
be
Right. Just
exactly.
because it's trending. Yeah.
Right. You don't need to be making funfetti sourdough because Taylor Swift is.
I know,
Like
I was just like, because
I
Taylor Swift
love
is doing it.
love a Taylor moment, big Swifty, but I don't need to be doing it just because,
Yeah.
it's a thing to
When
do.
I have other people doing all the other stuff in my life, then I can focus on sourdough.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So one other thing that you had said earlier on that I do a little differently, when you were saying you offer giveaways to your readers. So I recently did a survey I did it twofold. I did it to my existing list. I sent them a survey. I did it on email and then I posted it in my personal Facebook group
Hmm.
because I felt like I got two different pools of answers. In email, I basically got the empty nesters who sit and wait for the mailman to come every day. They sit
Hmm.
there all day, they wait for the mailman. As soon as the mailman gets there, they run out and get their mail, and they're also sitting there taking online surveys. Like
Got it.
that's what they do. Um, that is, I would say about 80% of my email responses were from that group. So I posted it in my personal Facebook group or my Facebook profile because I knew my friends and family would answer it, where they wouldn't answer it if they saw it in an email. But if I asked for their help explicitly, they would do it. But the other thing I did was when I sent out the email, I offered a giveaway to anybody that answered it. And it was basically just a free PDF that I gave them. It didn't cost me a thing.
Hmm.
And the response I got on that survey versus any other surveys that I've done was exponentially much greater
Hmm.
because people want something for free, whether it's a $25 gift card or a free PDF that I just had sitting in Dropbox somewhere that I threw together. And
Yep.
I think just offering them something, a token of your appreciation, is helpful.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I've also dabbled with using Loom to kind of send a thank you, like a
Oh,
personalized thank you.
that's
Um,
awesome.
Yeah,
I love
I've tried doing that. I did that with reaching out to brands to see if they'd work with me. I did get re one response out of like 10. But 10%'s not bad.
Yeah, 10% is pretty good.
I yeah, so I think the personalization of it, whether it's here's a PDF for taking, your time and helping me out with this, or sending a quick, hey, thanks for, all your support over the last couple of months or years that you've been a subscriber, I think really, really goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I noticed
that.
too in my my welcome series email, I put a video, like a welcome video in there, and that gets some of the highest clicks. And
Oh,
I
that's
have it
awesome.
just private on YouTube, so like I know that like just people on YouTube aren't finding it. Like you have to actually have the link. And so I can kind of see the analytics. And it's one of the videos that people will watch all the way till the end. It's not like they watch like 20 seconds and drop off.
Right.
Right. I watched the whole
And
thing.
it's not,
That's
I'm
true.
not saying it's very long, but still, I mean, on YouTube,
Yeah.
the drop off can be huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, for sure.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of great ways. I love the idea of sending the thank
Yeah,
you.
I really like
I
that.
love that. There's so many good nuggets here. So if you're
Yay.
not taking notes, if you're listening while you're driving, go back and make notes. Go back and re-listen to this and make notes. There's a lot of great little nuggets in here. So what else do you have to share with us today, Morgan?
So with the realization that people really want a more recipes that could be done quick and easy and that are more family friendly, I did create my PDF that I originally was selling for like a couple of bucks, but to your point, I feel like I'd rather not gatekeep that because I feel like it could really be beneficial for a lot more people. And $5 or $6 may amount to something else for somebody else. So I would rather make it free. So I have a PDF that's downloadable. It's called Secrets to Efficient Meal Planning, and it's a couple of pages long. I was kind of shocked that I could speak that much about it. But it really does break down the differences between what the meal planning aspect of it is and what the meal preparation aspect of
Mm,
planning process is. And it also links to recipes so people can not just have to think about, all right, well, I have this great idea. I know how to meal prep and plan. What am I doing? So it's not just like, okay, well, here it is, but here are some recipes you could try it out with.
mm,
Um, and from there, and even with my own experience, something that I like to rely on is like a 3-2-1 strategy. So doing three vegetables because you can always make a roasted vegetable or you could saute or steam or air fry. Two mains, so like thinking about a meat or a meat-based option or plant-based meats, and then one big starch, whether it's a pasta or a rice or risotto, whatever the case may be. That way you have different options for the week. And it doesn't have to be the whole week. It could be 3 or 4 days. That way you have a night where you go for takeout or, you have a leftover meal. I feel like leftovers get so quite literally left behind because it's like, who really wants that? But if you have a little bit of potato, a little bit of ground turkey, or if you have some steak, you can make a meal out of like the leftovers in your fridge. So yeah, so that was a fun thing to create and kind of get an idea with, and just kind of removing that gatekeeping of the price.
Huh. You know what I really like? I actually like a lot about that. One, that you've got the education component, so you're actually helping you're setting that stage for your reader to transform, and then you're giving them the links and like the resources to make that easy for them so they can take that next step after they have the education. Like that's super clever. And I love that you've like got your own framework in there, and it's such an easy
yeah,
rule, right? So that's the thing that after they've done the link clicks and they've got you're making it so easy for them because then 3 2 1 like anyone can remember, and as long
Yeah,
as you've
right.
gone through like your PDF and you know what that ties to, like that's super easy. Also, I've never heard that before. Like I've never like I like that concept.
right?
I was like, where is she going with this
I
three
know, I
two?
was thinking the same thing too.
But I love the simplicity of that and how much mix and match that gives you. Because you're right, like if you do rice as the base, like for your starch, you really only need one starch for that week, right? You can mix and
Right.
match several other things into that.
Right.
Such a clever, like it's really clever. But I love that, like that framework, the whole framework that you put together, the education, the resources, and then the simple fallback rule to make it easy to keep doing. example.
Yeah,
That's
and
very packaged.
you can also swap, like if you would rather have a pasta and a rice to differentiate your starch and just make one big main. If you know that everybody loves chicken and you make chicken cutlets, I mean, ch breaded chicken cutlets is like the most perfect and
Oh
most
yeah.
versatile food in the universe. If I could be food, I would be a chicken cutlet. And we love it here, so we can pan fry, you can air fry, whatever it is. But that can go such a long way. You could throw it in with a pasta. You could throw it over rice. You can even have a salad with it if you just want a quick and healthier style dinner. Um, and it just lends itself to so many things. But the 3-2-1 has just worked so well for me. And that's always how I've meal prepped. And I found talking to even just friends in the neighborhood, they're like, wow, my God, it helped so much. It was easy for me to kind of do, and then we didn't have to rush home and worry about meals. It was one of those things I felt like, oh wow, this really does make a lot of sense.
So not only did you get blogging advice in this episode, you got meal prep and meal planning advice too. But what I love here too, and I think this brings to light a very important thing. We talked a lot about finding out what our readers want from us and mining that information. I think you're going beyond that here, and you're looking at what their problems are. So they may not even know they want this, but they're
Mhm.
struggling with something and you're solving a problem. And I think when it comes to creating a product, you have to think from that respect too, not just, oh, my readers like quick and easy recipes. No, clearly they have a problem. So get to the root of that problem and solve that problem. And I think you've got a home run.
Yeah.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah. There's an exercise that Toyota does when they're doing their problem solving in their engineering. And I love this. I used to teach this when I taught entrepreneurship classes, and it's called the 15 whys. So you start off with something and you're like, okay, we never eat dinner at home. Well, why? Well, because I never have time to cook it. Well, why? Well, because I don't plan enough. Why? You just keep asking why. And by the time you get to 15, you've probably hit the nail on the head as to what the
Mhm.
root problem is. And have identified all these other things too along the way. So if you've never done that with yourself, I think you should do that. I think it's just a fascinating exercise.
Or
Yeah,
borrow a toddler because I feel like my granddaughter does this to me every time I
Yes.
say.
Yes. Become a toddler. Become a toddler.
but yes, ask all the whys. We do similar. I do 5 whys to get to the root cause of a lot of situations that I do in both jobs. So it really does help because then you're like, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe my thought process is not as sufficient as I thought
Mhm.
it was, which is why all this other stuff is happening. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that one. Awesome. What other advice do you have for us, Morgan?
I think Instagram is one of those things that can be you get very caught up in it, and it could be 2 hours of just doom scrolling. And I feel like it is so important to take that step back and reflect on what what your intention is when you open up the app, because it could be very negative and pessimistic, and it shouldn't be. It should be a place of fun and lightheartedness and inspiration. So I think that remembering to open up the app really when you're looking for information or looking to get inspired versus just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and going down rabbit holes is really what it's about. And I think that that's the only way to continue to be smart about using social
Right.
media is using it intentionally and not just opening it up and being like, we're going to spend 2 hours here because I have nothing else better to do. And if you need to take a break, take a break.
Hmm.
Christina, am I the only one that's feeling like I feel like Morgan more so than any other guest we've had, at least in my near memory, is like every time she talks, I'm like, are we talking about business or are we talking about personal life? Like you have got the work-life balance. Like I can tell you've got two
Yeah.
full-time jobs because
Yeah.
you can like easily transition between all the things. Because that advice applies as a business owner because a lot of times I get onto social media to do research, right? To know what's resonating.
Yep.
So and I'll doom scroll. So like it works for the business manager, but it's also just good human advice,
Right.
right? Like for anyone listening. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of what you said today does. It applies to multiple areas of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's easy to fall into that trap of what is it, imposter syndrome. And I've literally thrown my phone and be like, I'm done. I quit. I'm not doing this anymore. I wave the white flag, whatever it is. My husband's like, no, no, just take a break. Go outside, have a glass of something, go eat your favorite food, go take a walk, go snuggle a child, like do something to get your mind off of it and come back. But that's when you know that you've hit your limit and you need to take a natural pause. And that's with anything you do. You need to take a natural pause and just say, okay, we're going to reset, we're going to recalibrate, and then come back in, full force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know this morning I had an appointment and I was feeling very overwhelmed with my to-do list. And we're coming up on Q4. I'm feeling very overwhelmed and I could feel it like building up in my chest. So I got home, I walked into up my sidewalk and I took my flip-flops off and I just stood in the grass barefoot. I'm like, people say you should ground yourself. I'm gonna ground myself right
Literally.
now. I know the grass is wet, but I'm still gonna stand here barefoot. I'm gonna, God, I hope nothing crawls over my foot. Like,
Yep.
these were my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm petrified of snakes. I'm like, please don't let a snake crawl over my foot. But I'm just going to stand here in the grass and I think I need to be grounded for a minute. That's what everybody says I need to do.
Yeah,
It
it
works.
helps a
It
lot. It
works.
does. It really
All right.
does. Whether it's wet grass or you're just kind of sitting for a moment meditating, it really does help to
Yeah.
pause.
You could tell like I was willing to do anything at this moment. I'm like, I can stand in the wet grass barefoot. Chrissy doesn't do that. But it's funny you were saying about like the feed and the doom scrolling. My husband and my son call this curating their feed. So they will sit at night and scroll the reels and curate their feed so that they have appropriate memes to send to me at random times throughout the day. And it's true, like if when you start engaging with certain things, you'll see more of that. I mean, that's just how smart it is. But if you surround yourself with the doom and gloom, you're going to get more doom and gloom. But if you're
Yeah.
looking for the good stuff that's out there, it's definitely
Yeah,
start
that's what you're
interacting with
seeing.
that and don't just be like the lurker who doesn't interact with it. Like interact in some way so you see more of that and you can get the inspiration.
But
Right.
yeah, that's a great reminder that, like, as much as we complain about the algorithms, it is what the algorithms are designed to
Yeah.
do. So, like, this is where we can manipulate back. You
Right.
can manipulate what you're exposed to by understanding that the algorithm's going to serve you more of what you linger on.
Hmm. Oh, they'll
So,
be so ticked off. Like they'll be scrolling. My husband will be like, darn, I just clicked on something that ruined my whole curated feed. I had it perfectly curated and then I clicked something wrong.
oh, did I tell you about Phil? I'm going on a tangent for a second, but he was complaining about his Facebook Marketplace. He's like, why does it show me all of this random stuff? He's like, why is it showing me used chewing gum? And then he clicks on it and he reads the whole
Oh
thing.
no.
That's why.
That's why.
That's why.
Yeah.
Next time you see used chewing gum, just scroll right on by.
I got pulled into, I think it was a sweater shaver for like pilling
Yeah.
Mhm.
on Instagram ads, and now all I see is ways to help dry cleaning, ways to help like to pill and the best time. I'm like, I don't need any of that. But now that my phone is listening to me, it's gonna be like, well, now you're gonna get a lot more of that because I heard you said dry cleaning.
Well, Christina kept me honest this morning because I was getting served ad after ad after ad on Facebook while I was just trying to like do my morning check-in on things. And so I kept sending her links and she's like, wow, you're really down a hole this morning. Oh yeah, keep showing it to me because I keep clicking and sharing. Perhaps if I want to be productive, I should close Facebook.
So, lesson here, I think, is to learn to curate your feed the way Jim and Joe do and make it work for you.
And set boundaries about how long you're going to spend there. Yeah.
Set boundaries.
Timers. Timers
It
are
Absolutely.
was
great.
happy time that I was there, to be clear. I wasn't doom scrolling, but it was definitely not productive time.
Yeah.
So,
But I think
yeah.
there's a lot of ways we can mine great information
Hmm.
from our audiences in ways that go beyond the obvious. Like I think your Pinterest idea was like brilliant.
Yeah.
But like just going beyond what's in your face and obvious and really looking for the roundabout data is very, very helpful.
Well,
Yeah,
and
and
I didn't mean to put you on the spot with the Instagram question earlier, but like, because that makes a lot of sense to me, because I've been trying to find a reason Instagram would make sense. If, like, if it's not sending me traffic, there is value in the data. So if the people that visit my site actually happen to use Instagram for data, whether I make the connection to get them from Instagram to the site is kind of irrelevant. Because like
Mhm.
Christina mentioned, I get them on my email list, but then they don't respond to polls very via email or not very often, right? Like that's just not where people
But I
have that.
think they're still engaging with the content on your email,
Right,
right? Like
right,
they're still clicking through. It's
right. So
just,
I've got the data. I can
yeah,
look at the data there. Yep.
yeah,
But I like that piece of just understanding where your audience is and using that vehicle to get the data.
Mhm. Yeah, I've also found too, every now and again, I'll have, a subscriber or not a subscriber, a follower on Instagram kind of engage and just send me stories. So I really try to engage with as many DMs as
yeah,
appropriately as possible. Um, And I found that that's been helpful. I have a follower or two who just kind of started liking things, and we got into a conversation, and we're from the same area, so it just you never know who you're gonna meet, and I feel like that's another reason why I try and be so forward facing on my stories, regardless of, obviously I want to look presentable in a way, not like all disheveled, but it doesn't have to be curated in the sense that
Yeah.
it needs to look aesthetic for stories. It's
Do
just,
right.
you use any type of autoresponder or does any of your team handle that messaging? It just seems like with another full-time job, that's a lot of being tethered to your phone.
yeah, so I am playing around with using Grocer's List,
Mhm.
which does the automation. I tried ManyChat, but I've had issues with the automation going to everybody, and I have family who's like, I stop. Like, we're good. Like, I know it's a glitch. We're working on it. So Grocer's List is
That's a
something.
big glitch.
Yeah, it was like sending to everybody, and I'm like, not everybody, asked for this. Or I guess you have to be, I think, more intentional with like the keyword people use.
Yeah,
But half the time I'm like, oh my God, I love this pumpkin recipe. And then the keyword is pumpkin, and I didn't realize because I'm just interacting with your pumpkin recipe. But yeah, I've played around with many lists. I'm hoping to start using Grocer's List. It's something that I spoke with my social team about, because it is a lot. But what I like about Grocer's List, and I haven't used it, I have another food blogger who has, there's an option to have the recipe itself sent to
Mhm.
your email, so you can give the email there. And then there's also another thing where it allows to populate into a shopping list, which I find very fascinating. So I'm trying to see how we can integrate that into emails too. That way it all like kind of comes full circle
Right.
with
yeah.
automation.
I think it's a nice marriage when you can build the authentic interaction and marry that with the technical assistance we can get
Right.
from tools.
Right.
Yes, for sure. And even AI. I use AI for caption automation. I tweak it. I don't just,
Right.
leave all those
Right.
M dashes in there. And with my blog posts, I actually asked AI, ChatGPT and I have become really good friends. So she was like, and she's a female apparently because I've been saying she.
Oh, no,
Nice.
have you named her? What's your name? Have you named
She's
her?
not, she doesn't have a name.
Oh,
It's
mine's
almost like
Donna.
her. It's like that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix. It's kind of like that. It's just like she's my bestie, but without her name. So the bestie with no name told me that I need to be doing certain types of recipes. And I was like, well, look at Namaste Hungry's website. Tell me the top 10 holiday recipes, five savory, five sweet, and come up with another list of five savory, five sweet that are easily family friendly oriented, and things that could be done within 30 minutes. And the recipes she sent me, I was like, my jaw dropped because I was like, okay, well, I'm doing that. I'm doing that because that makes sense. And this will connect with this. And there's just to your point, Christina, there's a lot of ways we can utilize the tools appropriately without A, overdoing it and burning out, and
Yeah.
B, making it so robotic. It's just having that balance and knowing
Right.
that AI is not the be all end all, but it's a way to help brainstorm and strategize.
It's a tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
We're
let's
not all writing our blog posts with like, well, I guess a stone and the chisel, right? Like,
Feather
so,
10.
sometimes I feel like I am, I'm not gonna lie.
so yeah, it's just another tool.
Yes. Yeah, and those are also great ways to kind of help, as an entrepreneur, be a little bit more savvy
Right.
with yourself and not get to that burnout. Because when you're first starting out, you're like, oh my God, I have to do all this stuff. And then when I have audits with SEO folks, they're like, well, your website is like a death by a thousand cuts. And I'm like, what? Like, you have there's things that are just kind of mounting to bigger issues. I'm like, well, that sucks.
Exactly how I felt after my audit with Casey. I'm like, is there anything worth salvaging? This seems like a lot of work.
And like the 2.5 hours we were chatting, it was helpful, it was insightful, and now I have a literally next to my computer, I have Casey non-negotiables. Here's what you
Great.
need to do. But it was eye-opening.
But let's be honest, right? Let's look at like those audit findings. Again, we're down a hole that we weren't intending to, but looking at those audit findings is no different than if you were like a restaurant, right? A brick and mortar restaurant, and the inspector came in and they had their report and they're going through and you need to fix this and this is wrong and you need to do that and da 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 da, da, and they leave you with this report. If you were to fix everything on there, you're going to have a better restaurant.
Right.
Right. So that's exactly what it is for us. And I mean, yeah, it's death by a thousand cuts and it is a lot of work, but if we do the work, it's only going to
Yeah.
make us better.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you
Right.
have those tools to help support you build a digital team, if you will, of
Yeah.
the resources and the tools. You have Canva for this, you have Chat GPT for that. Have you used through the tool?
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah.
It helps me kind of identify what questions I can help fill the gaps with.
Yeah.
You have your arsenal of resources, so you don't feel like you're doing everything with a
Yeah.
quill.
And it's great to use like when I did my survey. So I had that one survey that went out, but now I've updated it and it goes out in my entire or at the end of my welcome series so I can get information from people as they're coming in with their expectations and more importantly identifying those problems. But every couple months I take the results and I dump it into Chat GPT and I'm like, summarize this and tell me, pull out the nuggets of what I should be focusing on, what my listeners or my readers are saying. I want to be able to hear what their needs are. And it pulls out some great little nuggets from there. And it's less analyzing that I have to do.
That's a really good idea. I'm literally going to do that after our call.
But see, you have
Because
homework and we have homework now.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
having all this. This is the stuff that excites me because it's like, oh, well, I get to get more insight and new data and more information. Because I just started sending out weekly meal plans to go along with the planner. So if folks just want to download the PDF, they can. But also, if you subscribe, you get weekly plans of 5 mains, 2 alternatives, and 4 sides. So that's not a bad idea to go back in and say, hey, it's been 3 weeks. What are you finding is helpful? Is the template itself helpful? What are some things that I can what types of recipes do you want included in this?
What are you
And-
still struggling with?
Right,
Right? Like ask them what their problem is. Because when we can solve the problems, that's the gold.
exactly, for sure.
Boy, I love this conversation. This has been
I
awesome,
know.
Morgan.
Yes, likewise.
Yeah. Why don't you remind our listeners where they can find you if they want to connect with you online?
Yeah, please, virtually come and meet me and say hi. I am at namaste.hungry. So it's NOMASTE.hungry on Instagram. My website is namastehungry.com. TikTok is Namaste Hungry. Facebook is Namaste Hungry. If you want to email me, it's namastehungry@gmail. And I'm so excited to have had this opportunity to chat with you ladies. This has been so fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Morgan. That was an awesome conversation.
Yes.
Listeners, if you want to take action on what you heard today, go stalk her on Instagram. It's Namaste Hungry. Is that right, Morgan? On Instagram, go to her website, see what she's doing there, namastehungry.com. Go see like how she's getting all this information and kind of what her format is for face forward stories and don't steal her ideas, of course, but let her inspire you. So, thank you again, Morgan, for joining us.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you. So make sure you tag us on Instagram too, at The Smart Influencer, with your biggest takeaway from today. And there's so many. You can even drop us a DM and let us know how you're applying what you've learned.
Thank you for spending time with us today. We'll be back next week with another episode to help you grow smarter, work less, and earn more. See you then.